When God sets a time, He doesn't do it by chance. There's no coincidence in the kingdom. When He speaks and says, before October 18, 4 things will happen, He's not speaking into confusion. He's speaking into completion. Heaven has an order, and when that order is released into the earth, everything begins to move in divine rhythm. Some of you have been watching the calendar, counting the days, wondering when your moment will come, when your prayer will be answered, when that door will finally open. But listen closely. God's timing has never been late. It may have missed your expectation, but it has never missed His intention. We serve a God who moves in seasons, not seconds. You might feel like time is running out, but heaven doesn't measure time the way we do. What seems like delay is often divine orchestration. Every second of silence is filled with purpose. When it looks like nothing is happening, that's when God is arranging the details behind the scenes. He's aligning the people, the places, and the pathways necessary for your promise to meet its appointed hour. And when that hour comes, no force on earth, no resistance in hell, no word of man can stop what God has scheduled to happen. Some of you are in that waiting place right now. You've prayed, you've fasted, you've believed, and yet the heavens seem quiet. You're asking, Lord, when? But the Spirit of God whispers back, trust my timing. You see, if God gave it to you too early, it would crush you. But when He gives it right on time, it will crown you. The same God who spoke creation into being is still speaking over your situation. When He said, let there be light, the darkness didn't negotiate, it obeyed. And when He speaks over your life, time itself has to bend to His word. There's something powerful about understanding that the delay isn't denial, it's design. Every detour is preparing you for a destination that's bigger than what you planned. God isn't trying to frustrate you, He's trying to fortify you. Because when the moment comes, you need to be ready to carry the blessing without breaking under it. Before October 18, there are alignments taking place you can't yet see. The heavens are in motion, and the earth is responding to divine timing. What looks like stillness is actually movement. What looks like silence is actually strategy. So don't let impatience make you miss preparation. Don't curse the waiting. It's holy ground. You're not running out of time. Time is running toward you. Every sunrise brings you closer to what God already declared will be done. And when it happens, you'll look back and realize that every delay was mercy, every closed door was protection, and every unanswered prayer was God saying, not yet, because I have something greater. The clock of heaven is never off beat. When God says it will happen before October 18, it will happen right on time. Before God brings something new into your life, He often allows a shaking. It's never to scare you, it's to strengthen you. Every move of God begins with a moment that feels uncertain. You might be wondering why things that once seemed steady are now trembling, why relationships are being tested, why finances are shifting, or why opportunities you depended on suddenly disappeared. But that shaking is not punishment, it's preparation. God shakes what is unstable so that what's unshakable can stand firm. Before He builds, He clears the ground. Before He promotes, He purifies. There's always a shaking before the showing. Before God revealed His glory to Moses, the mountain quaked. Before Jesus rose, the earth trembled. Before Pentecost, the room was shaken. And before October 18, God is allowing a spiritual shaking that's going to bring alignment to what's been out of place. Some of you have prayed for breakthrough, and God is answering. But His answer doesn't always come wrapped in comfort. Sometimes the shaking is the very sign that your prayer has reached heaven. You see, when God starts to move, the first thing He touches are the foundations. He removes everything that's been falsely supporting you so that your confidence will rest entirely in Him. We love the idea of miracles, but not the process that makes room for them. The truth is, you can't see resurrection until something dies, and you can't see glory until something is shaken. God is saying, don't fear what's shifting, celebrate it. Because what's being removed wasn't meant to remain. The shaking is separating what's temporary from what's eternal. Maybe you've been feeling the pressure lately. Maybe it feels like your world is unstable and nothing is certain anymore. But hear this. The shaking is a signal that God is near. It's proof that His hands are on your life. He's shaking loose the fear, the doubt, the dependence on people and systems that were never meant to sustain you. He's making room for His power to manifest. The discomfort is divine. It's the sound of deliverance coming closer. And here's the beauty of it. After every shaking, there's a showing. God never allows something to be disturbed unless He plans to display His glory in a new way. You're about to see why the shaking was necessary. You'll look back and realize that what you lost wasn't loss. It was liberation. The things that fell away made space for the things God had already prepared. Every trembling moment is a testimony in the making. So if your life feels like it's trembling right now, don't panic. Stand still. Watch. Trust. Because God is not breaking you down. He's breaking you free. The shaking is not the end. It's the evidence that something greater is about to be revealed before October 18. There are moments when God begins to pull back the curtain and show us what's really been happening beneath the surface. Before October 18, He's going to start revealing what's been hidden. Things that have been working in the background of your life, things you couldn't see but could sense. There are people, plans, and purposes that have been quietly forming, and now God says, I'm bringing them into the light. What's been confusing will suddenly make sense. The pieces that didn't fit will finally come together. You'll understand why certain doors closed, why some relationships ended, and why the waiting was necessary. Revelation doesn't come to embarrass you, it comes to empower you. When God reveals, He's not trying to expose your weakness. He's unveiling His wisdom. So many times, we cry out for clarity but resist the change that comes with it. Revelation always requires realignment. When God reveals truth, it demands a response. That's why He doesn't show everything all at once. He reveals what you're ready to handle. But in this season, He's saying, get ready for light, because before October 18, things hidden in darkness will be brought to light. Motives will be exposed. Deceptions will crumble. Secrets will surface, not to destroy, but to deliver. What the enemy meant to conceal, God will uncover for your protection. You may not have all the answers, but you'll know enough to take your next step in confidence. This isn't just about people or circumstances. It's spiritual. There are forces that have been trying to block your breakthrough, cloud your vision, and confuse your path. But when revelation comes, confusion has to flee. God is removing the veil. He's saying, you've walked by faith long enough. Now I'm about to let you see. You'll notice divine confirmations everywhere, in conversations, in Scripture, even in unexpected moments. He's going to speak in ways that leave no doubt it's Him. And when He reveals, it won't just change what you know, it will change who you are. Sometimes the revelation hurts before it heals. When God shows you the truth, it can cut deep, But that pain is purifying. You can't step into promise while clinging to pretense. He reveals so he can restore. He exposes so he can elevate. Don't fear what's being uncovered. Thank him for it. Because anything revealed under his light is something he's about to redeem. This is the moment to keep your spirit alert. Pay attention to what the Spirit highlights in your heart. Don't dismiss the gentle nudges or the sudden understanding that wasn't there before. When the light comes, walk in it. Because before October 18, the fog is lifting, the truth is rising, and the path ahead is becoming clear. What was hidden will be revealed. And when it is, you'll see that God's hand was guiding you all along. There are moments when God moves so suddenly that it leaves you speechless. You can wait years for something, and then in a single day, everything changes. That's what happens when divine timing meets divine favor. Before October 18, there will be doors that open without explanation. Things you've been praying for, believing for, and even forgotten about will begin to align. God specializes in sudden shifts. He can turn what was once resistance into release, what was once rejection into recognition. And when he does, no one will be able to say it was coincidence. It will be clear that only God could have orchestrated it. For some of you, it's felt like every door has been locked tight. You've knocked, you've tried, and you've watched others move ahead while you've waited in the hallway of hope. But God is saying, you've waited well, and now the waiting is about to end. When his favor moves, it doesn't need approval or permission. He doesn't ask the enemy if he can bless you. He simply declares, it is time. The same God who opened the Red Sea can open the right door in your life. And when he does, it won't just be a door of opportunity, it will be a doorway of destiny. We often think God's blessings come gradually, but many times they come suddenly. One moment you're Joseph in the prison, the next you're Joseph in the palace. One day you're David watching sheep, the next you're David anointed king. God doesn't need years to do what only takes him a moment. He can accelerate your steps and compress seasons so that what you thought would take a lifetime happens in a matter of days. Before October 18, some of you will witness that kind of acceleration. Where there was once delay, there will be divine movement. You see, when God opens a door, it's not just about opportunity, it's about identity. He's not only changing your situation, he's changing how you see yourself. The closed doors were never rejection, they were redirection. God was saving you from walking into rooms that couldn't handle your anointing. He was reserving you for a moment when your presence would have purpose. And now, as this season unfolds, he's saying, get ready to step through what I've prepared for you. You won't have to force it, chase it, or prove yourself for it. The door will recognize your name because heaven authorized your entry. And when that door opens, you'll realize that every no you faced was leading you to a greater yes. Every delay was divine protection. Every disappointment was a setup for destiny. What felt like a closed chapter was actually the cover page of a new story. So don't lose heart in the hallway. Keep your faith ready, because before October 18, the door that's been shut for years will swing wide open, and when it does, you'll walk through it knowing this was the moment God had prepared all along. There comes a moment when God draws a line in the sand, not to divide in cruelty, but to distinguish those who are fully his from those who are merely comfortable in faith. Before October 18, that line will become clear. This is a season where casual belief won't be enough. God is calling his people to stand firm, to walk boldly, and to trust deeply. The days of lukewarm faith are fading. What's coming will require courage, not convenience. You'll begin to see a separation, a spiritual sifting, where those who are surrendered rise, and those who are still undecided will feel the shaking of indecision. God is not looking for perfection, He's looking for devotion. He's not searching for those who say all the right words, but for those whose hearts burn for Him, even when no one is watching. This season will expose the difference between those who follow Him for blessing and those who follow Him out of love. Many will be tested not to destroy their faith, but to define it. You might face moments where you'll have to choose between what's easy and what's right, between staying quiet or standing firm. That's when God will reveal who you really are, not through your comfort, but through your commitment. Sometimes God separates before He elevates. He removes the weight of wrong associations, unholy distractions, and misplaced loyalties, because where He's taking you, not everyone can go. That's why some people are drifting away, why certain opportunities are closing, why the circle around you is getting smaller. It's not rejection, it's refinement. God is clearing the atmosphere around you so your spirit can rise unhindered. The called cannot afford to live carelessly. The casual will always question the cost, but the called know the cost is nothing compared to the glory that follows. There's a fresh fire being released in this hour, a hunger for truth, a passion for holiness, a courage to stand even when it's unpopular. The Spirit of God is stirring His people, and you can feel it. It's not emotional hype, it's divine urgency. He's preparing a people who will not bow to fear, not compromise under pressure, and not blend into the world to be accepted. The distinction is coming, and it will be evident. The anointing will rest heavier on those who refuse to waver. You'll begin to see unusual favor, unexpected breakthroughs, and supernatural strength upon those who have chosen obedience over opinion. This is not a time to hide your faith. It's a time to live it boldly. God is saying, if you'll stand for me now, I'll stand for you then. The casual will fade in the noise of compromise, but the called will rise in the power of conviction. And before October 18, that separation will be visible. The ones who are truly surrendered will shine with unmistakable grace and divine authority. There comes a point when what God promised in the secret place begins to show up in the open. Before October 18, that's exactly what's going to happen. You've held on to His word. You've carried it through seasons of silence, through tears, through questions, through moments when nothing seemed to make sense. And God says, now it's time to see what you've been believing for. The promise that once felt distant is about to take form. What was invisible is about to become undeniable. This isn't a season for speculation. It's a season for manifestation. You see, when God speaks a promise, it doesn't return empty. His word carries the power to fulfill itself. You may not know how it's going to happen, but the promise has been growing quietly and steadily, like a seed beneath the soil. You don't see the process, but you can trust the purpose. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour has been part of that growth. It's easy to think that nothing was happening, but God has been shaping everything behind the scenes, preparing you for the very thing He promised. And when the time is right, the manifestation won't come as a whisper, it'll come as a wave. For some, it will look like restoration. Relationships healed, finances revived, health renewed. For others, it will be doors that once seemed permanently shut now swinging wide open. But in every case, it will carry one message. God keeps His word. He's about to make visible what you've only seen by faith. You've been walking by what He said. Now you're going to walk in what He's done. And when it happens, you'll realize that the waiting wasn't wasted. It was worship. The tears weren't in vain. They were watering the seed of your promise. There's a sacred power in the moment when faith turns to sight. You'll look around and see that the things you used to only imagine have materialized right in front of you. You won't have to fight for recognition. The fulfillment itself will testify that God has been faithful. The manifestation of the promise doesn't just bless you. It reveals Him. It shows His goodness to those who doubted, His mercy to those who wandered, and His consistency to those who waited. It's proof that He doesn't speak to impress, He speaks to perform. So don't stop believing now. You're standing on the edge of evidence. The pain you endured wasn't a punishment, it was positioning. You've come through the process, and now comes the proof. The promise isn't just on the way, it's arriving. The same God who began this work is about to complete it in full view of those who thought it was over. And when it does, every tear, every prayer, every sleepless night will make sense, because before October 18, the promise you carried in faith will finally stand before you in fulfillment.